right, so as the world comes to grip with another stunning act of terror, the finger pointing inevitably begins on the domestic front. Here to discuss, The Hill columnist Buck Sexton, also former CIA analyst. Great to have you with us.
Good to see you.
So you heard some of the discussion there that the president and his words, his rhetoric were to blame. Here is what the National Executive Director of CARE had to say today.
During your presidency and during your election campaign, Islamophobia took a sharp rise, and attacks on innocent Muslims, innocent immigrants, and mosques have skyrocketed.
We're less than 24 hours out, really. What do you make of the efforts to link our president to this attack overseas?
Well, this is exactly what the terrorist wanted. He made that very explicit and clear. What we see here is that there is an evolution of this kind of attack where social media is useful for these individuals to find like-minded people, to radicalize, and to often post a manifesto. Now, because of advances in technology, it's easier to live stream it and to make sure that it gets as wide a distribution as possible as it's going on. And what he's done here, and I think unfortunately this is going to be something you'll see repeated in future attacks, is that he has brought in very sensitive flashpoints and characters and individuals that he has tied to this that have nothing to do with it. But now whenever people want to, they'll have an excuse to say, oh, individual X or individual Y who inspired the New Zealand shooter. And that just goes to his initial purpose, which is to create the very divisions that some people, unfortunately, are giving a lot of oxygen to.
Yeah, over at BuzzFeed, they had a piece that says this: I would encourage my colleagues to be extraordinarily cautious in tying the Christchurch shooter to a narrative of online radicalization. Some of the claims in his manifesto are obviously sarcastic and seem, if anything, aimed at contradicting such an interpretation. But as you said, he did talk about the fact that he wanted to create division and chaos here in the U.S.
Yeah, this guy's obviously also a malignant narcissist and a psychopath. So when people are reading through this, they should have an understanding that this is somebody who's obviously clearly disturbed. But I also think that when you've seen in the past people sometimes debating foreign policy maneuvers, decisions, they'd say, we don't want to play into the terrorist hands. By picking people who are named in this manifesto that have nothing to do with this, that didn't inspire this attack, don't know this individual, and don't even touch on many of the subjects in some cases that he seems so fixated on, that is in fact playing into this terrorist's hands. That's exactly what he wants. He's been explicit about that. He has stated it as such. And I just think that the movement now, especially online, to try to draw as much oxygen away from this individual and his attack and to try and dampen the aftermath of this such that it doesn't become something that other extremists want to replicate, that's the best that you can really hope for in this circumstance to try to deal with this going forward.
Yeah, and does it now muddy the attempts by a lot of people to bring people together, to have Muslim community members and Jewish community members and Christians all sit down and talk about the ways that they can try to root out this radicalization and support each other, and people have no faith at all? I mean, does this now just drive a wedge into the ability to have that conversation?
Well, certainly the terrorists in this case hope so, and the strongest rebuke that we could possibly have now in New Zealand and around the world is for as much unity and comity as possible between all peoples, people of Islamic faith, people of all faiths, and not allow him to get exactly what he wants, which is people to do, unfortunately, what we're seeing on TV, where they're pointing to the President of the United States, they're pointing to other well-known figures in this country and other countries, and just using this to score really cheap and short-term political points against individuals who, I'm sure across the board, all feel terribly about what has happened here, have nothing to do with it. And this should not be the usual cheap shot routine, but unfortunately that's what we've been seeing so far since this happened. So I don't think we've learned much on that, Shannon, but I'm hoping it will change.
Yeah, I mean, we all have to think about the families and the individuals and people who are suffering enormous loss tonight because of this. Buck, thank you for dropping in. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Shannon.